Hi guys, Dazzie here with another episode of my showcase series. This time it is episode 52. Tonight I will be showcasing the Image Comics key issue comic books in my personal collection. This is part one. I have so many Image Comics keys that there were just too many for one video. So I've split it up. I've got a lot of pretty cool keys here, guys. Tons of optioned books, and I love it when the books come to screen. So it's always nice, I think, to look through and see the comparison. Let's get into them because I've got tons here. We're starting with a book that was optioned for a movie, but that talk has died down. I don't know what the score is now with this book. It is Analog, issue number 1. It's a bit of like a spy tale, this one. And I think Keanu Reeves was attached at one point. This is the regular David O'Sullivan cover. Picked this up in Manchester in a shop called Travelling Man. That was in early 2018 for cover price. To go with the regular cover, I picked up the variant from Declan Shelvey and Jordi Belair. Same shop, cover price. This was a nice pickup. I don't usually do exclusives, but when I thought this book was going to make it to the screen, I still think it's got a chance. I went for it. This is Analog. This is the Forbidden Planet exclusive cover. And this is signed by David O'Sullivan, who did the pencils, and Stephen Mooney, the cover artist. One signature and two signatures. Paid £5.99 for that. Okay, up next is a book that has recently been optioned. This is Beauty, issue number 1. Basically, it's a story that in the world of the beauty, physical perfection is attainable, and the vast majority of the population has taken advantage of it. But two detectives discover it comes at a terrible price. There is a more scarce single issue called The Pilot Season, which exists, that introduced the story. Now, Beauty is in development for a Netflix series with Ryan Murphy attached, who is known for the TV show Nip and Tuck. This is the Jeremy Hone regular cover. £3 for that in Bristol. Up next, we've got Birthright. And this was, again, optioned by Skybound. And this was in January of 2018. This is the first appearance of the main character, of course, Michael Rhodes. This is the variant from Mark Silvestri. Haven't read this one yet. Paid £3 for this in Tewkesbury. Whenever I'm digging, though, I find tons of Birthright issues. Tons. This was a pretty good read. This was optioned, again, by Legendary in March of 2019. This is Bitter Root. And this was optioned for a movie. A family of monster hunters try to settle their differences before humanity is devoured. Paid 50p for this in a shop in Cheltenham, Proud Lion. And this is the regular Sanford Green cover. This book was really hot at one point, and it's still going for double figures. I also picked up the variant for 50p. And I was really happy to find this in parts of a grab bag, I think it was. This is the variant Virgin cover from Sanford Green. And this book in particular can go for 50 plus on a good day. So find that for 50p, really happy. Basically, it's a bit like Ghostbusters back in the day. I'm not a fan of Rob Liefeld, but I had to pick this one up. I don't know what attracted me to the book, but this is Bloodstrike Brutalists, issue 23. And I picked this up because this is the cover B variant from Rob Liefeld. It's the first appearance of his character, The Pouch. Oh my days, what's that all about? Cover price for that one. Here's a book that was optioned in February of 2020. This is Coyotes, issue number 1. I've actually sold one of these, and I've got issue 8, the final issue, up for sale at the moment. There's just 13,215 copies of this book. This is a story about an ultra-violent series about a young girl with a secret rooted in myth. I believe it's a werewolf tale. And in February 2020, creator Sean Lewis tweets that this property is optioned and in development. I paid £9.10 for this copy on eBay, but I have found, like I say, one or two for £1 a piece since. Up next, this was optioned at one point for a movie, but I don't know whether that's still happening. This is Crowded issue number 1. This is the regular Rose Steen and Ted Brandt cover. Cover price for that. I can't remember the actress's name. Blonde lady. She sings in Pitch Perfect. It'll come to me. Up next, this one was optioned, I believe, as well, with a strong option talk at least, for a TV show. This is Cursed Words. And what's nice about this, guys, this is the limited edition preview ashcan, 1 per store. I found this for £3 in Weston, one of the cons, and this is signed by Charles Soule, the writer. So that was a real nice find. And to go with that, I have issue 1, described as a gonzo modern fantasy full of darkness, light and magic. Regular Ryan Brown cover, $6.99 for that one. So I'm hoping that comes to the screen. Up next, pick this one up. This was on CBSI at one point. This is Cyberforce issue number 2. Reason I picked this up for $3.95. There's a preview for Darkness in this issue. I think they use a section called True Firsts. I don't really go for preview appearances too much though. Up next, I found a few of these over the years. This is Cyblade and She, issue number 1. This is the first appearance of Witchblade, and there was a Witchblade TV show at one point. And Witchblade is Sarah Bazzeni, and it's also the first appearance of the Witchblade entity. £1 for that in like a antique centre here in Gloucester. To go with that, we have the variant from William Touchy. Found £1 for this one at the car boot, again in Gloucester. And we have Shy and Cyblade instead of Cyblade and She. This is issue number 1, and this is the second appearance of Witchblade. £1 for that in the car boot. This was optioned. When was this optioned? March 2019. This is Danger Girl, and this is the preview. This is the first appearance of Danger Girl. It was Abby Chase and a whole host of other key characters from the storyline. Like I say, 16-page preview of Danger Girl issue 1. There was a screenwriter hired to adapt the comic for film, and that screenwriter was Jeff Wadlow, and he was hired in March of 2019. Paid £10.41 for that, which is a pretty good price on eBay. Like I say, we're meant to be getting a movie of Danger Girl at some point. If you've got Image Keys, you've got to have this book, really, haven't you? Darker Image, issue number 1. The first preview appearance of the Max, Deathblow and Bloodwolf. This one comes bagged with the Max card. And I believe this one comes bagged with the Bloodwolf card, if I am not mistaken. Okay, up next is a book that has been recalled because it initially came out and it was going well and it wasn't a bad read. And then there was a restaurant with the same name and the restaurant sued them, so they had to change the name of the book. This is Dead Rabbit, issue number 1. Just like a crime, like detective story. This is the regular John McCrae cover. Like I say, this book is pretty scarce now. So if it ever makes it to screen, and I hope it does, because it was a good story. It's now called Dead Eyes. Cover price for that. I was delighted to find this one for £2. This is the 1 in 10 Dave Johnson variant cover. This book was going crazy at one point, 30, 40 quid. Bought that in back end of 2018 in Cirencester, Planet All Stars. And it only got to 2 issues before they changed it to Dead Eyes. So I was happy to find issue 2 of Dead Rabbit. Again, a cover from John McCrae in Cirencester again. Up next is a book that is pure fire at the moment. It has been optioned by all accounts, and there are a number of A-list celebrities attached. This is Department of Truth, issue number 1. I would love to have the regular cover, but I'm more than happy to have the Jenny Frison B cover. After a man discovers that every conspiracy theory that he'd ever studied was true, he sets out to infiltrate the organisation that has been keeping them covered up. Good stuff. Thank you, JT Rogers, for that fantastic AOK. And to go with that first printing, I've just found the third printing recently in Forbidden Planet in Bristol. Cover price for that. Up next is a book that has been optioned a couple of times. This is Descender, issue number 1. This book was crazily expensive at one point as well. Probably a £50 book at once. I don't know what he's doing now. But this is a premiere issue of an ongoing series about an android's plight to survive in a universe where his kind has been outlawed. Now this was was in development from Sony Pictures in November of 2018. As the regular Dustin Nuggie on cover. Picked that up for £2. Then it went quiet, and then it was optioned again along with the sequel book, Ascender. In the sequel to Ascender, a girl spends her days exploring while trying to avoid the vampire witch known as Mother. $3.95 for that on eBay. Like I say, it was optioned in June of 2020 along with Descender for a second time. And next we have a book that has had lots of option talk. And it's a big book. 3 figures on a good day. Die, issue number 1. This is the regular cover from Stephanie Hans. Stephanie Hans is very, very good. This is a group of adults have to face a terrifying unearthly visitor that was unleashed decades earlier during a role-playing game that they barely survived the first time around. Bit like an adult Jumanji, isn't it? And cover price for that one in Bristol. And to go with the first printing, I picked up the 4th printing, and that can go for 15 to 20 on a good day as well. That's the first big pile out of the way. Up next, anytime Robert Kirkman's involved, I think it's worth the pickup because you know his track record. It usually does pretty good if it comes to the screen. So this is a book that never had any announcement. It just popped up on the shelves and people went mad for it to start with. There were so many different versions of the first issue as well, with speech bubbles and not speech bubbles. This is Die, Die, Die. And this is the hardest one to find, which is the no words bubble. Pick that up in Cheltenham. Just a brutal story, and I mean brutal. And to go with that is the other scarce one, which is the I Am Paul cover. As you can see, now they talk. Another book that was optioned for a TV show at one point is East of West, issue number 1. Basically, cowboys and aliens. Happy days. What's not to like? £7.50 for that on eBay. But I've picked up a couple more of those, I think, over the years. Up next is another book that was optioned recently, and that is Excellence, issue number 1. A secret society of black magicians exists to better the lives of others, but one man sees the system is flawed and fights to create a better future. This is the regular Carrie Randolph and Emilio Lopez cover. £1.08. It worked out as here in Gloucester. Another book that was optioned for a TV show. Again, we all have our option boxes, don't we? This is 5 Ghosts, issue number 1. £2.34 for that in Excelsior Comics in Bristol. This is the first appearance of the main character, Fabian Gray. Basically, 5 Ghosts. Up next, another pretty recent book that is still goes for good coin is Gideon Falls, issue number 1. And this is probably one of the more sought after covers because there was a lot of them. This is the Jock cover. Horror tale. Pretty good read, actually. Cover price for that. And to go with the Jock cover, I found the Jeff Lemire variant. Cover price. I made a comic book hunting adventures video recently from 8-Bit Planet in Bristol. I picked this book up there, and this book was well over £100 at one point. It's not doing that now, but it's meant to be optioned. This is God Country, issue number 1. £1.67 I paid for this. Donny Cates Goodness. This is the Jeff Shaw and Dave Stewart regular cover. And picked this up in the middle of 2018 in that gaming shop. remember coming home and thinking, I've seen that book somewhere before. And then I went back, it was still there. Couldn't believe it. Up next is another option book. This is option for a movie at some point. Whether it happens, again, we don't know. Hadrian's Wall, issue number 1. An 8-issue mystery miniseries about an astronaut murdered on Hadrian's Wall. This was to be adapted for screen and directed by Kyle Higgins in April of 2019. Here is a book that did make it onto screen. I didn't enjoy it too much, what I did watch of it. That was Happy, issue number 1. And I'm surprised because it is by one of my favourite writers, Grant Morrison. If you've got the full set of these books, it goes for about $50. But I paid $3.99 for this. This is the first issue in a 4-part limited series about a hitman accompanied by a tiny blue unicorn donkey. It is the first appearance of the main characters, Nick Sachs and Happy the horse. Crazy story. Absolutely crazy. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel. Picked that, like I say, $3.99 in Bristol. I have to include this book, just have to. I'm a big fan of the original Kick-Ass movie. The second one was okay, but not as good as the first. There's always talk that there's going to be more. I hope there is. I was a huge fan of this character. I picked up the blank cover, and my daughter drew a picture for me. This is Hit Girl, issue number 1, and my daughter sketched that for me and signed it. So happy days. She's at Cardiff University doing illustration, and I'm just a big fan of the character, and of course my daughter's artwork. Hit Girl number 1. Up next is another book that was optioned, and this was optioned in January of 2019. This is Huck, issue number 1. This is a 6-issue limited series about a man who lives a simple life of using his unique powers to perform good deeds, but his life changes when a new neighbour alerts him to the media. The screenplay was being written for this by Theodore Melfi. Like I say, January 2019. This is the variant Raphael Albuquerque, Fields of Dream, homage cover. £2.40 for that. Like I say, meant to be a movie. Up next is probably the biggest Image book out there right now, other than The Walking Dead number 1. It is Ice Cream Man, issue number 1. A premiere issue that features one-shot stories disconnected from one another except for the unsettling paranormal presence of the Ice Cream Man. What's great about this, there are only 9,454 copies out there, and I've got one of them, and I paid £5.50 for this. I bought it online, but the guy lived next to me, so I met him at a con and he gave me the book there. This is the regular Martin Morazzo and Chris O'Halloran cover. I had all the early issues and I sold them all. Just didn't think they were worthy of my collection. And I kind of regret it now because they go for a lot of coin. But as well as the first printing for number 1, I have the scarcer second printing from Martin Morazzo. And again, this can go for 20 plus on a good day. Cover price for that. Another horror book that was optioned for a movie was Infidel, issue number 1. And this is the Aaron Campbell and Jose Villarrubia regular cover. £1 for that. Car boot in Cheltenham. To go with the regular cover, I've got the variant from Jay Lee and Jose Villarrubia. £3.50 for that in the Proud Lion in Cheltenham. Another book that was optioned, this was optioned in April of 2018, is Injection. This was optioned by Universal Cable Productions for a TV show. £2 I paid, like I say, Malthouse, brilliant. The Invincible TV show's out at the moment, the animated adult show, and I've started watching it. I'll give it a go, see where we get to. I only have one key issue, and that is going for a lot of money at the moment. I sold one of these recently, but not for too much. This was Invincible issue 110. All I will tell you, it is very controversial. And leave it at that. 99p I paid for that in Western. Very low printed. Just watched the trailer for this. It's coming to Netflix and it looks exciting. I'm happy. I'm excited for this. It could be like Netflix's Boys, I reckon. This is Jupiter's Legacy issue number 1. And this is the regular cover A from Frank Quitely. Just a superhero tale. £2.19 for that. I found a couple of these, and I've got the regular cover D Phil Noto cover as well. This is the premiere issue of a mini-series created by Mark Millar and Frank Quitely about the offspring of superheroes living in the shadows of their parents. $1.50 for that in a Cheltenham charity shop. I do like an ash can if I can find one, and I think the book's got potential. And this one's always getting talked up for option talk. This is Kill the Minotaur, issue number 1. This is the ash can, limited to 1 copy per store. Pretty scarce. Paid £2 for that in Cheltenham. That was meant to be a movie at one point, and to go with that, I found the number 1 issue for £6.66, based on the classic Greek myth of Theseus, navigating the labyrinth while stalked by the half-man, half-beast, the Minotaur. Now, this was optioned by Universal for a theatrical release way back in September of 2017. Wow, going back some. There now is a book that was optioned, I believe, before it was even released. Is Philadelphia, issue number 1. This is the regular Jason Sean and Sean Alexander cover. The horror of corruption and violence unfolds before a small town cop who has to return to Philadelphia to bury his murdered father. A vampire story, if I'm not mistaken. I have read it, I can't really recall. £4 for that. Next was another book that was optioned for a TV show. This is Lazarus, issue number 1. The first appearance of the main characters, Forever Carlyle, who's known as Eve, James Mann, and Jonah Carlyle. This is the regular Lark cover. Paid £6 for this in the Antique Centre in Gloucester. I've sold one. Oh, I've actually got one for listed, I think, as well. And the final issue I'm going to show you of part 1 is a book that is really talked up big time on the forums. I think this book's got a chance of making it to screen, and that is Little Bird, issue number 1. I didn't really enjoy it, the story, I've got to be honest. Little Bird follows a young rebel fighter who battles against an oppressive American empire. I paid just 50p for that. I've sold 1 or 2 in the past as well. Then go for £10 plus on a good day. That's it, guys. That's part 1. A lot of good keys in there. Some big books we like Die and Ice Cream Man. If you like what you see, subscribe, all that jazz. That mean the world to me. Got my new Iron Man shirt on. $2.99 today. Woo! Bye for now.